right, everybody. Hi, how's it going? This is Jack Devine, and I am here to offer any advice or just to goof off with you guys online if you're interested in talking guitars or have questions about what just went down there. That was kind of a line cliche song that's really kind of a helpful, wonderful tune to understand how to play over that kind of thing. This is Ballad of a Thin Man, exactly. So Black Math, you win the prize, my friend. You named that tune correctly. So really some cool changes in a tune like this, and offers the soloist a super cool opportunity to build a lot of tension and exploit some fancy pants moves. So let's talk about some of those here. All right, the song is out of B minor, and we're doing basically this kind of boom 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 boom, this kind of thing. Now for the lesson portion of this, let me dry up the sound a little bit. I'm going to get rid of that big long analog delay. And so the first chord is a B minor, okay, and then we're going to have this kind of sound. All right, that's a B minor triad with a B flat in, okay, so actually it's with the B flat in the bass, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, then we're gonna basically just keep dropping the bass note, but keeping that triad. Okay, so this can be seen as a B minor 7 chord. It could be seen as a D chord with a 5 in the bass. Okay, lots of ways of looking at that. Okay, this chord is somewhat dense. And tense, rather. It's an E7 with a 3rd in the bass. Okay, so what are we doing? We're going. Okay, and then you guessed it. Bobby Zimmerman got clever and found a place to put this G major 7 chord next. So we have, you walk in the room, best chord in the tune. So that's D major, F sharp dominant. Okay, that's a flat 7. We can use that gospel kind of thing. Okay, we've talked about that move in the past, right? That's kind of a hip thing. No doubt about it. Most of the time that's done, that's right. Secondary dominant into the B minor, okay? From D, then the 5 of where we're going, and then where we want to go, okay? So super, super dynamite changes there, okay? So after that E minor, boom, 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 back to D major, and then the same change, but rather than going like this, I want you to go like this. Okay, and that's basically, it's just like an F sharp chord with the 5 in the low end. Okay, which is, it's kind of the same idea as this, except it's just in a different place so that you learn a couple of different things. Okay, so, okay, then B minor. Okay, and actually I just go with a G in my loop, and I'll show you why in a minute. All right, there's some really interesting things we can do over that G chord that involve this flat 5. Okay, now I've elected to go with kind of a mildly overdriven neck pickup strat sound. I find that to be a pretty dynamic sound and super easy to exploit from a dramatic perspective, right? It's like you can play quietly. Okay. tendency, obviously, is to revert to all your SRV cliches. But there are worse things to do in life than sound like that guy, right? So I see Alex Chung is on the boards. Black Math, thank you very much for vibing out with me today. I totally agree with you in that it sounds like Ballad of a Thin Man, because that's what I was trying to talk about. That song is really, really cool. All right, so basic line cliche going root, down to, then again, okay, then E minor. So the cool thing is the G then has it like a G major and E minor. They're deeply related. So that's a diatonic change where you can blow a lot of G major / E minor over top of all that. Make your way to that D chord. Do the little deal change back into the minor 1. Again with that move. Okay, and then come up and grab G, and rather than just going, give it a little bit of sassafras with this flat 5. Okay, that's the dominant 7 of the G chord. But you can see that it's the tritone of where we're headed, and it creates a lot of tension. So sadly, it's literally the last note in the loop, so you'll have to hear me rock through the session, the track again, but it's kind of fun. Okay, so you're gonna watch me. I'm gonna start out up here just so you can kind of track what's happening here. Here's our B. We're gonna be watching this note come down on the 2nd chord, 3rd chord, 4th chord, next chord, then E minor. Okay, then D, F sharp's 3rd. That's B minor, okay. And then D again. F sharp again, B minor. Now to that G with the flat 7 in. That's do you, Mr. Jones? Up. Okay, B, and now to our harmonic minor over that. That's what I was screwing up all over the place. Just waiting to get to this G7 chord at the end, but yeah, let's talk about F sharp minor. Okay, we've got a couple of instances where we can get at that, where we hear that harmonic minor or in this progression on the 2nd chord. Okay, that major minor B flat. That B minor with the major 7. Okay, so the 1st chord is just straight up B minor. Oh, sorry, we're over the vamp. B minor. Harmonic minor. Now B flat minor, B minor 7, and then E, G major, E minor. Okay, now right here, that chord, that F sharp, is where we can use that that same harmonic minor idea, okay? And if you look at it, you see the F sharp chord right here. If you can see back here, here's the D chord shape of an F sharp minor, F sharp chord, okay? So we're going D, F sharp dominant, okay? So when we're doing this move where we're going D, that spot, okay? When we hear that D, da-dum, dum, boom, boom, just like we do in Deal and Georgia on My Mind and All of Me and Sunny Side of the Street, this move is a classic, you know, gospel and jazz move. This thing is in tons of tunes, and the sooner you get hip to how to monopolize that sound rather than going, if you go straight dominant, it sounds shitty. So you will ultimately hear the reasoning behind using what is ultimately going to look like an F sharp 7 chord with a flat 2 and a flat 6, okay? So we're going to ditch our Mixolydian approach over that F sharp dominant chord, and we're going to go with F sharp dominant, okay, Phrygian dominant, which is the same notes as B harmonic minor, okay? So is the same intervallically. That's what we would be playing. Yes, Phrygian dominant again. All right, so here we are. You keep seeing the things I'm trying to feed you, boys and girls. I'm trying to teach you guys the stuff that you don't find everywhere. And the more we hear it, the more I can brainwash you. Whoa. No, honestly, the truth is this is a fantastic thing that most players kind of have a question mark in their thought bubble over their heads over. So, you know, when we're hearing that second chord, right? When you hear, you walk in the room, people have no idea what to do there. They just freeze up. But it's not so hard if you just think, I go B minor, and instead of hitting the flat 7 on my way down to here, I go, and then once you start to see that not as the major 7 of that B minor chord, but as the third of an F sharp 7, once you start to see that B flat as functioning as the third of this F sharp dominant sound, that's when you've got it dead to rights. Now you understand there's like the same way we use D major and B minor interchangeably, or G major and E minor in the middle of that, okay? When we do that and we think, oh, well, I can play the same series of notes over both those chords because they're interrelated. Same thing happens here when we have this. That sound is the same as when we hear, and then this. The same tool serves both harmonic needs, okay? So you can play the same series of notes. It's just I tend to find that when I'm playing that over that kind of chord, I tend to call it B harmonic minor. Okay? Rather than thinking about it from the Phrygian dominant of the 5 that's just too many layers of translation. I think that's too cumbersome. Hang on a second. I see some comments coming through that look like they might actually be fun. And yes, we are borrowing the B minor major 7 from the harmonic. That is exactly what we're doing, Mr. Black Math. What's your real name? Because I think, first of all, I think that's a dope handle, but I just am always wondering what people's real names are. You love that sound. I do too. I think it's one of these moments where we can create kind of, for lack of a better word, some like Brian. Hey Damon, how's it going, bro? So we can do. Thank you. We can introduce a little bit of that kind of drama that Brian May could bring out of his solo work in Queen, where you get those kind of, you know, like you can really make the guitar kind of cry a little bit because you have this strategic advantage of understanding this voodoo that we can pull out over top of that dominant 7 sound. Okay, and so all of my standard little tricks all totally apply over top of that F sharp dominant sound. So we could do this one. So we're looking at it like the root is with the middle finger, and we're gonna bring the root, the 3 and the 5, root, 3 and 5. And we're gonna bring all of them to the party with a guest, and their guest is the +1, 1 fret above. +1, +1, +1, +1, +1, +1, and the only guy that doesn't get to bring a guest to the party is the flat 7, because he's, you know, he's flat. Okay, so 1, 3, and 5 each get. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes, and those 7 notes, when spelled out, equal 2 scales that we refer to as either the Phrygian dominant, okay, that would be F sharp Phrygian dominant, or B minor harmonic minor. Or we can look, we would look at, sorry, it would be, there we are. Sorry, I get turned around sometimes. Okay, so that's what's going on over those 2 changes, and that happens 2 times in a row, back to back, and then you have the opportunity to bust out that flat 5, okay, over top of the do you, don't go pansy and put that major 7 over top of that. Take advantage of the opportunity to get ugly for a nanosecond. All right, I'll play it 2 times. The first time I'll do what I'm cautioning you against, which actually sounds pretty nice and inside, and that's just to play G major. Sorry, more like a G Lydian sound, I guess. Okay, because we're still at a B minor, so. All right, but when you hear that, that's a lot different sounding to me than, which has this really sinister flat 5 thing happening relative to where we're headed. Okay, so here we go. Oh, what happened? Okay. Why aren't you playing, baby? There we go. Down into the 3rd of the E. Now to G major 7. E minor. Real inside. Okay, but now this time we're gonna do. Going down that line. G major. Guys like that, but I definitely think that note is dark and nasty and has some stank on it in a way that I'm not expecting to hear. And let's be honest, after 43 years of having one of these things tucked under my arm, it's fun to surprise myself. I hope you guys are having the same kind of joy with your practice. And you know, this is part practice and part fun. It's kind of like a situational practice setup. So we've got this nice progression note to work out ideas that we might be considering. And this is one that I was actually eager to experiment with, is, you know, substituting that flat 5 sound, okay, which do you, instead of do you, instead of instead of do you, that do, right? I don't really like that. I like that. It has a little nastiness. All right, so that's my little spiel on Ballad of a Thin Man, and I'm wondering if anybody has any questions or issues that they can, see clear to sharing with me. Otherwise, we can talk about other things, and maybe we can talk about the power of one of my favorite effects pedals in this kind of setting, the Univibe. All right, which has this kind of swooshing, swirling phaser. All right, and it imparts a tremendous amount of vowel. Okay, that kind of raw. It sounds like there's music in your mouth. Made extremely popular by Robin Trower, okay, and the Bridge of Sighs guy, so that, they're kind of a really thick, swirling, swooshy sound, and Hendrix, obviously. This is the effect that you hear all over. This is the effect that you hear all over, Machine Gun. Okay, now granted, we're hearing a lot of this mic right here, okay, which is really hot. It's hearing a lot of the pick on the strings. If I mute it, okay, but now I've turned on the microphone again, and I'll turn down the treble content because we're getting quite a bit of treble from this into this microphone right here, and I don't really care for the sound. But yeah, so you can hear that it's got this kind of thing going on. It's more of like a phaser and a chorus kind of effect. That's what my understanding of it is, but it does lend this vowel sound. So it sounds almost like there's a wah and a phase taking place at the same time. And it was a poor estimation of, initially, the effect was created to, it's funny how guitar players have co-opted several effects that were intended for one thing, and they were like, fuck that, I'm just gonna use it in this way. The wah-wah pedal was originally designed for trumpet players, believe it or not, to try to make it sound like a cornet with a mute in it, okay, to thin out all the bass. So isn't that funny? Or to mute it, right? But when you looked at the envelope, not the envelope, the Univibe, it was originally designed to be an approximation of the Leslie effect, but it has such a swampy, soupy brrf to it. And then when you add enough delay, when you get that going behind it. Really soupy, just like this cauldron of mayhem. Really great. Yeah, Maggot Brain. Maggot Brain, I don't think used the actual solo. I don't think he used the Univibe, but Eddie Hazel obviously did. All those cats were obviously wildly influenced by Hendrix. So you've got a lot of that stuff, and that Band of Gypsies, post-Experience era Hendrix, obviously, look at my guitar, was a huge influence on me. I love that style. Okay. So when I think about this sound, I definitely would hear that working well if the band was really cooking. When this right now, this loop has one distinct disadvantage, is that it repeats itself and then it doesn't really have any opportunity to build, right? Dynamically, it's the same thing. So I can't really see myself using this effect all the time. I use it as kind of like, oh, now it's time for the solo to kind of have an orgasm of sorts, like an eargasm, for lack of a better term. Plus, it also tends to obscure what you're playing because it's all soupy. So from a teaching perspective, it's a little inconsiderate to slather it with this. All that. It's kind of like the Tasmanian devil effect. It kind of has a big, all that sloppy, slurry, SRV, Hendrixy pick stuff really comes to life, and it really a dynamite effect. So if you don't own a Univibe, pick one up. They're good. They're fun. You deserve it. You deserve. What are you working for? What are you working for? If it isn't to live a little bit, go out and buy yourself a little treat from time to time. You'd be surprised how just owning a new toy for a minute or two can make you open a door into a whole new world of sounds that you might not have really cracked into. And who knows, maybe you can't get that Hendrix thing that I'm, conjuring, but maybe you get your own thing going with it. Maybe you find a new application for it, which could be even cooler if you ask me. But I hate to get all heavy duty metaphysical on you, but this sound is really, really a fun one. Okay. So it's got a thicker bottom to it. So when it goes through its phase, it goes and grabs all the lows. It's not like a slow sweeping thing. It's more like very determined. All right. It's too bad pedals are so expensive. I agree. Although this came free to me in my little Kemper thingy. So the Kemper, once again, coming through with some interesting options that are just baked into it that you just have to tweak a little bit. Not that I'm espousing buying a Kemper. They, in and of themselves, are a pretty expensive piece of gear. But it's definitely proven to be a worthwhile investment for me. It was probably $1,700. So considering that it handles all of my amplification needs as well as any head has ever taken care of me. Now, granted, the speaker enclosure was another $1,000, so now we're topping out at like $3,000, which is about where I would see a boutique amp thing, right? But that you only get one or two sounds out of it, depending on how many channels might be in the amp. And if you're going to buy a vintage Marshall, you aren't even going to get just the head for $3,000. I mean, my super bass is probably worth about $6,000 on its own. And the truth is, just to retube it is is really expensive. So, if you want to get the old tubes, those old DL34s are really expensive these days. So I don't really bust out that big boy anymore. So, and oddly enough, this isn't even a Marshall profile. This is just the tube screamer in front of a deluxe reverb with enough gain kind of stacked up on it to get a little loose and sloppy. And the rest of it is by rolling down the. Okay, that's on 0 on the neck. Don't discredit using your tone controls aggressively. Like now, here we are. Okay, now watch. I'm just gonna crack it open a little bit. Listen for the treble to open up. I'm on 2 now. It's dark. It's definitely dark. Okay, we can go maybe one more. Now let's add that and. Really, really amazing what happens just now. I mean, now if we crank up the tone all the way, it's going to get a little snarky. Whoa, especially if I turn down the volume. That's a little too present. Right? right? So I like to, I keep that neck pickup, and I control the top end content all the time. Very vigorous with that. That's for this knob. That's for that knob on this guitar only controls this pickup. This one only controls this one. Okay, so let's go to the bridge. Now let's stack it up a little bit. I hear you talking about fuzz pedals. Yeah, I like fuzz pedals a lot. That said, I don't have any in my rig because I made the determination to go completely all in the box, and I failed, unfortunately. The one exception I have is that the Kemper does not do envelope follower very well. It doesn't do the walk, walk, walk thing. So I do have the little Mutron Micro 4. I like that. That one's, the Microtron 4 is just kind of a no-brainer in that it just works very quickly. And it's not as finicky that I don't need like an oboe setup, like an onboard effects loop, the way Garcia did. So if you're into that stuff, you understand what I'm talking about. If not, don't worry about it. It's not really important. You can just buy this pedal and avoid all that shit. The only other pedal I really would entertain using is like a nice old wah. Like I have a Color Sound wah that I really like. That's just a dynamite pedal. Fortunately, it's broken, so I got to get it fixed by Joe Gagan. And the whammy pedal, which, you know, as much as the Kemper does do pitch transposition and all that stuff, and you could plug in, if you're going to plug in an expression pedal into the Kemper, I figure you might as well just plug in the actual Digitech whammy, which I don't use very often. And the other, I'm actually entertaining building a small secondary board that just goes into the front end of the Kemper. I really do like the Freak Out pedal. I don't know if anybody's ever checked out that pedal, but it's really, really cool. All right, it's not like anything you've probably ever had on your board before, in that it causes whatever you put into it to sustain infinitely, and then after a predetermined amount of time, it can actually shift to an upper order harmonic like instant feedback, but it works on a clean sound even. It doesn't have to be a distorted or loud. So for a low volume or headphone player like me, it's really nice. And I'm thinking about picking one up for Christmas just as a present for myself, because let's be honest, I like stuff. All right, so bridge pickup all the way down. Now let's just open it up until it starts to speak. Keep it, and that's at 3. Okay, now if we stack up some more output, okay, let's get some more gain on that fucker. Okay, boom, boom. Okay, so now we're here. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's see what else. Now we use the swamp machine. And let's add some goo. And let's go back to my loop. Oh, that's me, sorry. Can't really hear it. It's so loud. There we go. Okay, so let's see where we're at. Right, so there we are. So that kind of more gain is about all I look for here, but really, when I think about it, that isn't really the sound I like on this type of song. But if the track was able to build, I might want to keep another pedal in order, or boost, function. Maybe I could connect that to an expression pedal and just have the gain knob be an accessible parameter. Any reason not to get an external looper given the Kemper's limitations? Boy, oh boy. You know what? Thank you. That is a great idea. And I've used an external looper when I've done lessons that require a longer loop than is available inside of the Kemper. The only problem is that I'm a Luddite and haven't really taken the time to figure out how to put the looper in the loop. I know this is strange. There's an effects loop in the Kemper, and I haven't figured out how to get it in there. So what ends up happening is that whatever I do to my guitar that I'm overdubbing on top, performing on top of the loop. Let's say I want to be using a distorted sound. That same distorted sound, unfortunately, affects the loop that I create. So if I was to take this loop, okay, and plug it into the effects chain that I have set up for my guitar, then it would be going through the Univibe. It would be going through the fuzz face. It would be going through the reverb and the delay, and it becomes a real mess. So I tend not to. Oggins plugins, that's why I don't do it, except when I did, one of the things I think I did was I think it was on one of the songs that I did has a really long process. It's going down the line, beat it on down the line, big, long, well, this kind of thing, and then here, and then all the way up to the 5. Back to C, to C7, to 4, and then going, and then again it goes and does that whole thing and then does a chorus. But I figured, I can put the bass and the rhythm guitar through the Kemper and then dial in a sound around it. And what I ended up doing is tried to be kind of sneaky. What I did is I put the looper in line with a tim pedal. So I boosted my signal into the looper, and that way when I played through it, it didn't affect things. So I got around it somehow, but my Ditto is, it's just a little practice guide. It's like that big. So I haven't ever really wanted to be like a loopy guy. I don't do that shit live. I'm not, although having heard Trey do that, man, it definitely shows the power of that. If you have a drummer that can kind of stay solid with the looper, So you're giving me ideas, Oggins plugins. I think that's how you'd want it to be pronounced. So it's a very meaningful and thoughtful question, actually, considering how much I struggle with the looper inside the Kemper. And if anybody out there from Kemperland has any suggestions, man, just don't even bother contacting me. Just fix it and let me know that there's an update, because I've never plugged this thing in. I've never even cracked the menu, but I figured out how to double the time on it, but it still isn't enough for a lot of songs. And the thing it shits the bed half the time after you put in a long song, and then it won't let you stack anything else on top of it. So you end up with like a partial thing. So like this loop is actually 3 guitars and a bass. So there's one going, and then there's some ambient swirly stuff, and then a bass going boom, 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 boom. Okay, and man, oh man, it was touch and go for a second there, but I got it to work. So that's the loop. Kind of dreamy. So that's the drone. And now it's going to go to the. That's B minor 7. That's an E7 chord. Okay, now we've got the G, E minor, and then D, F sharp, B minor, and now comes my. I like it that. All right. So that's fun talking about effects pedals and stuff like that with you guys. We've never really gone down the gear rabbit hole, and I've done my best to kind of actually migrate away from that over the years and focus more on like what I'm putting into the instrument rather than what I'm putting the instrument through in order to get the sounds. And I came to the conclusion about 5 or 6 years ago that I pretty much sound like I sound like what I mean within reason. I sound good on just about any decent piece of equipment, and if something is a little brighter or snarkier or whatever like that, I should probably be able to accommodate that with the tone controls on whatever guitar I'm on. And some things obviously, are less forgiving than others and more to my liking, but I'm not really trying to be too fussy these days. I just am interested in making music and making people happy and teaching, which, by the way, has been incredibly enriching, actually. And I don't mean financially, because the truth is, I don't really do this for any other reason other than the social interaction of being around other musicians and sharing what I know. So I do appreciate everybody being involved and the online community that we've created here together. So you're a big part of that. It doesn't mean anything without you guys. And I think I'm gonna bow out because nobody's asking me any more questions. So, hey, I don't even know if there's anybody even on the chat no more. But I'm having a good time doing this, and I hope everybody had a nice holiday with their family and got home safe without getting sick. It's weird. Our country cannot seem to understand that it might just be best that when we go out on these humongous travel days, that well, Alex, hit me, baby. If you've got questions, I'm here to answer them. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing to just put a little piece of cloth over your face so when you sneeze, you don't make somebody else sick. But hey, oops, I'll let you go. No. I don't have anything booked for the rest of the day. I was just gonna go upstairs and sit by the fire, maybe have a glass of wine, like a European man. It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's freezing cold, and we have a fireplace roaring upstairs, and it sounds kind of nice. So, what's on your mind, Alex? Let me help you out. Got any questiones? Let's see, what's this? Whoops. Yeah, cool. Hit it. Hit the question. Been practicing economy picking. Okay, that is a thing for sure. Let's talk about economy picking. Any tips? First of all, yes, I have tips. One, you want to sit around and do this. Okay, you want to go and form. Hold on, let me get rid of that delay. Okay, you want to go to the 12th fret. Okay, and go like this, down on the D. All right, and see how I'm playing a harmonic? Deaden it from behind. You want to hear some pitch, but not a lot. Okay, let me get this level up a little bit. And we're gonna go, get rid of that too. It's too much reverb. Okay, this is gonna sound real planky and dry, but, or not. Here we go. Here we go. Oh God, so many layers of goo on my shit. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now we have a nice dry sound. We can hear what we're actually doing without any flattering reverbs and stuff. We're gonna go, okay, down on the D, down on the G, and then come up, down, down, up. And we want this to be triplet, triplet, not triplet, triplet, triplet. That's gonna be easy for you to do. That's what you want. Okay, so we're going down, down, up. And we're not going down, down. We're not coming away from the guitar. We are going right into the G string. It's called a rest stroke, actually, and that's for a good reason. We're resting and then going da, 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 da. That's how slow you want to practice it at first. Click going tick, 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 tick. Like that. Okay, then you want to learn how to mute it and then bring it through. Okay. That's coming up. I don't use that one that often. Okay, and then you just want to learn how to do it. Well, and with the click going, you know, if you have a click going and you're going, you want to make sure you can hear just a little bit of the pitch. Otherwise, it can quickly get lost. If you're going, then it just sounds like you don't hear that you're actually doing dun 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 dun. Okay, now great, terrific. Now we've got this new sound, right? But what does it turn into? I don't know. I think that might be a little hot. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so here we are. This is how we get to this. Okay, so you can see what's happening there. We're stacking up this little sequence. Okay, so that's the Eric Johnson 5s. Okay, and this is definitely one of the more... It's one of the more sought after kinds of sounds that you're looking for. Okay, so let's stack up a little bit more. Okay, so we're just burning through our minor pentatonics there. I think we're doing D right now. Right? Okay, so set up a little loop or a clicker in D. And then you want to practice doing 5s. Okay, and then you want to go... Be careful not to rush on that. Okay, so this all starts out with this. And that little is what you're seeing at the changeover between... That's the move I'm doing right there. God damn it, it gets bright so fast. Oh no, I don't know. When you do the EJ stuff, it's downward pick slanting. Okay. If you want to learn how to do the Eric Johnson style, all right, it's downward pick slanting. So that the pick he doesn't rock the pick up and do sweeps that way. He does it down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. Without that pause. There's no pause in between the lines. So So you can see it like I'll come down 7, 6, okay? So this is a nice little idea. Buzz through pretty quickly through the minor pentatonic shapes, and therefore you can craft that into a major pentatonic line like F. Right? Okay, and on and on and on. Okay, so wherever you see, you know, the opportunity for 2 downs, then you've got it. Okay, if you want to learn upward pick slanting sweeps, I suggest you focus your energy on the Tim Miller stuff. So let's just do an F major 7 arpeggio. We're going down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Like that kind of thing. Okay, so that's upstroke sweeps and pull-offs. There's no downstrokes done. It's just we're just brushing the pickup. Okay, and that works over the top of a major sound. A minor. Diminished. Sorry. What is that? Oh, fuck me. Jesus. right? And then you can do variations on the minor sound. It doesn't. That's minor 7. Major minor. We can do the Dorian sound. Oh, sorry. Okay, we can get at all that stuff with that Tim Miller stuff. I really push that pretty heavily because the right hand picking stuff is consistent from from voicing to voicing. So we can look at just about anything and plug it into this 2-1-2-1-2 frame. And then we can also find there's alternates. So like if we look at this as the F major, that's 2-1-2. All right, so if we find 2-1-2s like that, okay, we could also find 1-2-1-2s. Do I find, what is that, economy picking? I use economy picking for blues players. Yeah, I mean, I do, but I don't really go in too heavily for it when I'm playing blues, no. Although sometimes, you know, if you find yourself doing a lick like... So that first lick was... So I could see myself using something like that. So playing quickly like that, yeah, of course, you're gonna need, I mean, I can't really play like that any other way. I can't get around with all that picking. I can't do that with alternate. All right. The problem is it can be easy to get it very mushy, right? So you have to take your time. Don't try to rush with it, Alex. Okay. If you're gonna do it, you know. So that way you're playing. And, you know, I'm sorry, that sounds really raspy. Let's get rid of this extra gain here, and hopefully that'll clean up. Okay, so if you want to learn how to do it going up, we would go, let's say, at B minor. So we can go. I'm just holding it in there and just kind of brushing up. I don't really worry about economy picking going this way too much. I use pull-offs and upstrokes all the time, but I don't really think about it the same way. It's not the same technique as going down, up, down, and whenever I do 3 notes on a string, going right through. If you really are interested in it, there's an exercise on my channel, in my archives there, called, what is it? Directional picking, the secret to the Eric EJ and Bonamassa sound, or some kind of cheesy clickbait title, but it actually illustrates this little exercise. And this is the kind of the gateway drug for this move. If you look at the right hand, downstroke, downstroke, up. So the trick is also sometimes you're going to want to go pull off instead of picking. So okay, so once you get that stuff together. It's kind of fun. All right, hours and hours of goof off time for sure, but it starts with that little da-ba-ba, 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 da-ba-ba. All right, so what do we got here? Thanks, Jack. Really appreciate it. That's you. You can find any use for economy playing. It's you again. It sounds just like, oh, that's sweet. It doesn't sound like EJ, though. He's such a motherfucker. I've been using that extensive. Oh, okay. So you've been using that lesson already. Felt a tad bit advanced for me initially, which is why I asked about it here. Yeah, so all you really need to do, Alex, is learn that little do dot dot do dot dot and take off all the goo. You don't need all that. That's it, okay? I'm out of here, boys. I think I'm going to split. All right. Rock and roll metal. So says he. All right. I'm out of here. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for tuning in. And if I could plug myself, if you want lessons, you can always reach out to me. If not, if you want to keep mooching off these free lessons, that's fine with me because it's fun. One way or the other. But the truth is, I do enjoy teaching you guys for free and fielding Alex's questions all day. I hope that you don't feel too bad about asking questions, Alex. It's cool, man. It's all good. We all needed a big brother at some point in time. I was very lucky in that I had a lot of musical heroes in my little backyard when I was growing up, and they may not have known how influential they were to me then, but I owe them a debt of gratitude, and this is the way that I hope to pay it back karmically is by being there for you guys. So hopefully I can help you out, and you do ask a billion questions, but you know what, Alex? It's all right. It keeps things going. You're very lonely as a musician. That's what I'm talking about. That's what happened, unfortunately. The world decided to sit on its ass and watch Netflix and chill. Netflix and chill. It used to be, let's go out and fuck it up. Let's go out and get busy. Let's go drive around in the car and listen to, this new disc I got or this new cassette that I had. I mean, I remember driving around and listening to just, crappy music. But at the time I was like, wow, that sounds awesome. And getting all, heated debates about, the Scorpions are not the world's greatest two-guitar band. Yes, they are. Priest fucking blows them away. No, the Allman Brothers. And, you debating all this stuff with a couple of premature beers in your, younger days and hotter tempers and super fun. I mean, the best things that ever happened. And then getting back to the house and sneaking past your parents and going into the blast room and busting out a couple of guitars and trying to show off a little bit for your friends and having that kind of constructive rivalry that only your musical heroes and big brothers can really offer you. So anyway, you know what? Get out of the bedroom, Alex. I mean, get out of the bedroom and maybe you'll have some company in there. You do this on stage and people tend to take notice, all right? That's definitely one of the ways that I kept myself from being lonely over the years. I guarantee it, right? So everybody take care of themselves, stay safe and healthy and everything like that. Try not to get sick during the holiday season, and I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving and is woodshedding up a storm and getting ready to play out live in the spring, because that's what I'm doing. And you're very welcome, everybody. All right, take care, and I'll catch up with you later. All right? Cheers from Brooklyn. Bye-bye.